Why study location? Over the past centuries, location has become an essential form of communication. Location is used in everyday life to help one navigate through this world. Location is not only key in sustaining our world, but it is also essential in advancing the world. In short, it is virtually impossible to do anything, especially in America, without referring once to location. If I were to teach this unit to a third grade class, I would do so in a way that they would develop a portfolio over time. Location is not a concept that can be taught once and won't be able to grasp the full importance and relativity of it. Through this unit, students will be introduced to the key distinctions in location, absolute and relative location, as well as how navigational tools are used independently and or collectively to provide directions on how to get from one place to another. Stop 1. Students will gain a thorough understanding of the two categories for location, absolute and relative location. So what is absolute and relative location? Absolute location is an object's precise location on the Earth. Absolute location can be determined using latitude and longitude. Latitude is the distance north and south of the equator, whereas longitude is the distance east and west of the prime meridian. Relative location refers to the relationship between two places. For example, Wilmington, North Carolina is east of Los Angeles, California. Afterwards, students will use the skills developed in regards to absolute and relative location to complete an online research project in which they will demonstrate their level of understanding. For example, what is the capital city of North Carolina? Or where is the Capitol building located? Find the address using the latitude and longitude. Stop 2. Students will build on the prior knowledge and explore a type of navigational tool, namely maps. The teacher will read a short book, Me on the Map by Joan Sweeney, illustrated by Annette Cable. At this stop, students will be able to distinguish between the different types of maps. For example, blueprint map of one's house, a neighborhood map, country map, world maps, and road maps. After reading the story, the students will partner up and each partner group will be given a map to make observations about, noting the similarities and the differences. This particular unit will conclude with the class putting into practice the things learned by going on a scavenger hunt. Followed by the real-life adventure trip, students will create their own maps with directions from one place to another. This will prove that students understand the concepts talked about prior.
Migration and Immigration. The teacher will read the book, Children Just Like Me, Our Favorite Stories, by Annabelle Kindersley. The class will discuss the different cultures and traditions that are shown in the book. Students will be encouraged to talk to their guardians about what countries their ancestors originally came from to share with the class. Students will choose from an assortment of books in the classroom or library that are about culture and tradition. They will choose what they think is the most important scene in the book in regards to diversity and will draw and color a detailed picture of it. Finally, they will make the story come to life using a Web 2.0 tool that allows students to record their voices and use pictures, for example, Storyboard or Toondo. Resources: Children Just Like Me, Our Favorite Stories by Annabelle Kindersley. Children's books that are focused on cultures and their traditions. Web 2.0 presentation tools that are student-friendly. Standards and assessments. There are 3 standards that this lesson covers: social studies, language arts, and technology. The assessment is that they will create a presentation on a book related to culture and traditions. They will choose appropriate illustrations and will include an audio recording of themselves reading the book with fluency. Tanya sat relentlessly on her chair by the kitchen window. For several days, she had to stay in bed with a cold, but now Tanya's cold was almost gone. She was anxious to go outside and enjoy the fresh air and the arrival of spring. Trade and technology. Students will watch the YouTube video, Barter Trading, How Does It Work? In groups, students will have a variety of items and will group them based on which ones they think were made in the United States and which items were traded from other countries. They will learn that the ability of international trade has allowed the world of science and technology to expand significantly. The teacher will show the students popular inventions that have been created in the last 100 years. She will ask the essential question, where would we be without these items? They will discuss how trade has positively impacted the world of science and technology. Students will make a timeline of 5 important inventions in the past 100 years, other than the ones mentioned, and relate it to international trade. Their timeline may be created on a computer or with pencil and paper. Have them make connections to trade between countries for each invention. Resources: YouTube video, barter or trading, how does it work? Web 2.0 presentation tool that is student-friendly. Standards and assessments. The standards that are covered in this lesson are social studies and technology. The assessment is that they will create their own timeline of inventions from the last 100 years and will make connections to international trade. Example: other possible activities relating to movement. Imagine if you were living in the 1900s and were immigrating to America. Make a list of 10 important items that you would take with you. Illustrate these items in a suitcase template. Write a letter back home to your best friend about your travels and what you expect to find when you arrive to America. Create a class poster informing the public on the difference between race and ethnicity. Include the definition of each and use the Census Bureau to find the statistics of the different races and ethnicities in America to include on your poster. Bring in food from different cultures for a real melting pot feast for the class. Pick a food product or popular gadget and make a hypothesis as to if it is made in the United States. Research the product and make a presentation to show the class.